Her obsession begins the moment your silence gets louder. People won't like this, but I'll say it anyway. She doesn't start missing you because you're some perfect gentleman or because you treated her like gold. She starts missing you when you stop giving her the constant validation she got used to. And here's the part that might sting. Sometimes it's not love she's feeling when she thinks about you nonstop. It's ego. It's the shock of losing the attention she thought was guaranteed. Now, I know some will argue that's harsh, but ask yourself this. If she only starts valuing you after you walk away, was she ever valuing you, or just the comfort of being wanted? Think about it. Here's the secret most men never realize. A woman doesn't start missing you when you chase her. She starts missing you when you finally stop. And when this moment happens, when you act in a way she didn't expect, you'll live rent-free in her mind. But here's the catch. It's not what you think. What is the moment? Keep them watching. Picture this. She's used to you answering every text in seconds. She's used to you canceling your plans just to see her. And then silence. Not the bitter kind. Not the angry kind. But calm, confident silence. You're busy building your world. You're living with purpose. And suddenly, her mind starts racing. Why isn't he begging for my attention? Who's he spending time with? Why does he look happier now than when he was with me? This is the moment she can't escape. Your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. Understand this. Human psychology is wired for contrast. When something rare disappears, the mind exaggerates its value. She didn't miss you when you were always there, because abundance kills desire. But the day you stop orbiting around her, she feels the gravity shift. That's when she replays your voice. That's when she scrolls through your photos late at night. That's when her friends start hearing your name more than she'd like to admit. And here's where the stakes rise. If you collapse and run back, the spell breaks. But if you stay steady, focused, stoic, you flip the script. But here's the twist. This isn't about making her chase you. It's not about revenge or mind games. It's about reclaiming your value. When you shift your energy from needing her to mastering yourself, you become unforgettable. Not because she lost you, but because you finally found yourself. That's the moment she can't stop thinking about you. That's the moment her silence becomes louder than your words ever could. So, if you want to leave a permanent mark on her mind, don't try harder to impress her. Live so deeply in your mission, in your growth, that she can't help but notice the space you once filled. That's when she'll think of you, not once, not twice, but endlessly. Because the truth is, the man she can't stop thinking about is the man who finally stopped thinking about her. Now, let's be honest for a second. Most men don't lose her because they're bad guys or because they didn't care enough. No, they lose her because they cared too much in the wrong way. Picture this. She sends a text at midnight, just a random thought, maybe even something silly. And what do? You're wide awake, typing back instantly, as if you've just been waiting for her signal. The next day, she hints that she's bored. You've got plans with your friends, maybe even something important for yourself. But without hesitation, you cancel everything to be by her side. You tell yourself it's what a good man does. You tell yourself she'll see how loyal and committed you are. But here's the problem. She doesn't see loyalty. She sees predictability. She doesn't see effort. She sees availability, too much of it. Think about it. When was the last time you hesitated before hitting reply? When was the last time you made her wait, even just a few minutes? Or better yet, when was the last time you chose yourself instead of rushing to serve her every need? Sound familiar? Ever felt like the more you gave, the less she seemed to value it? Like the harder you tried, the colder she became? That's not your imagination. That's human psychology. You see, when something is always there, it's taken for granted. Water flowing from the tap, air in your lungs. The same is true in relationships. If your attention is on demand, she doesn't treasure it. She just expects it. Let me give you another picture. You're sitting there staring at your phone, waiting for that three-dot typing bubble to appear. You're rehearsing what to say, scrolling back through old messages, wondering if you said something wrong. Meanwhile, she's out with friends, not even thinking about whether you replied in 2 minutes or 2 hours. And when she finally texts back, you jump like it's breaking news. That right there is the trap. It's the silent mistake most men make without realizing it. They believe more attention equals more love, when in reality, more attention often equals less respect. Now, I'm not saying don't care. I'm not saying play games or act like you're heartless. But here's the reality check. You've been conditioned to think effort automatically creates attraction. But in her mind, the man who gives too much, too soon, too often feels less valuable. And here's the part that stings. She won't tell you this. She'll just start pulling away. You'll feel the distance, but you won't understand why. And by the time you notice, you've already built a pattern that's hard to break. So the question is, are you the man constantly proving himself? Or are you the man who lets his presence be felt by its rarity? Because only one of those men leaves a lasting impression. And then it happens. The moment that changes everything. One day, you stop replying right away. Not because you're playing games, but because you're busy working on yourself, your mission, your goals. Instead of waiting by the phone, you're at the gym. Instead of canceling your plans, you're meeting with friends, building connections, living your life. And here's the magic. Your silence isn't angry. It isn't cold. It's calm. It's a kind of silence that comes from a man who knows his value. A man who doesn't need to chase. At first, she doesn't notice. She thinks it's just a fluke. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're distracted. But then it happens again. A few hours before you reply. A full day before you suggest hanging out. Suddenly, you're not orbiting around her anymore. And that's when her mind starts working overtime. Here's what you need to understand. Human psychology is wired for scarcity and contrast. When something feels unlimited, we stop noticing it. But when that same thing becomes rare, its value skyrockets. Think about it. Gold is valuable because it's scarce, not because it's shiny. Your presence works the same way. When she can't predict your every move, her brain starts exaggerating your worth. She replays old memories. She hears your laugh in her head. She wonders if you've already moved on, if someone else has your attention now. And the more she wonders, the more she feels you. This is the shift, the point where her thoughts turn from comfort to craving. And it's not about manipulation. It's about balance. You finally stopped flooding her world with your attention. And now, your absence has a gravity she can't escape. But here's the catch. Most men destroy this moment without even knowing it. They feel her pull away, and instead of standing firm, they panic. They break the silence. They send the long text, the apology, the desperate call. And just like that, all the power of scarcity is gone. Imagine this instead. She texts, "Hey, haven't heard from you." And instead of jumping on it like before, you smile, finish what you're doing, and reply later with calm confidence. You don't explain. You don't justify. You simply live. That's when she feels it. That's when the memories hit her harder than before. The sound of your voice, the look in your eyes, the way you made her feel when you weren't even trying. Suddenly, she's the one scrolling through old conversations, wondering why you haven't reached out. This is the shift. The power isn't in chasing harder. The power is in stepping back, choosing yourself, and letting her mind fill the silence with you. Because once she feels that emptiness, once she realizes she can't predict you anymore, you'll live rent-free in her thoughts. And that's only the beginning. Now here's the truth most men miss. And this is where everything can fall apart if you're not careful. This isn't about manipulation. This isn't about pulling away just to get a reaction. Because if you rush back the moment she notices, if you break your focus the second she shows interest, the entire spell shatters. She'll see right through it. She'll know it wasn't confidence, it was strategy. And strategy alone can't hold her attention for long. The trap is simple. Too many men use this shift as a game. They think, if I ignore her for 3 days, she'll come running. But that mindset proves you're still focused on her, not on yourself. And here's the hard pill to swallow. If your actions are still about her, you haven't really changed. You're still chasing, just in disguise. But here's the twist, the part that most men never understand. The real reason she can't stop thinking about you isn't because you pulled away from her. It's because you pulled closer to your purpose. You stopped making her the center of your world, and you started building your own world. that shift in energy, that new alignment, it's magnetic. Think about it. When you're deep in your mission, when you're focused on growth, on discipline, on becoming stronger in every area of your life, your presence feels different. You're not desperate, you're not predictable, and you're not waiting for her validation. You're moving with momentum, and she feels that. She feels the energy of a man who doesn't need her to define him. That's the Stoic truth. It's not about revenge. It's not about making her jealous or proving a point. It's about respect. Respect for yourself. Respect for your time. Respect for the mission that gives your life meaning. And when you live this way, something remarkable happens. Yes, she thinks about you. Yes, she replays the moments you shared. But more importantly, you begin to think less about her. Not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. Your mind isn't trapped in her approval anymore. Your mind is free. That's why she can't stop thinking about you. Because you became the kind of man who is unforgettable, not by trying harder, but by becoming rarer. Not by punishing her absence, but by elevating your presence. So remember this, the trap is playing games. The truth is living with purpose. When you choose the second path, you don't just capture her attention, you capture your own respect. And that right there is worth far more than her fleeting thoughts. So here we are. You've seen the mistake most men make. You've seen the shift that flips her psychology. You've seen the trap and the truth. But now comes the part that will stay with you long after this video ends. The man she obsesses over is not the man who texted first every time. It's not the man who begged for her attention or rearranged his life around her moods. The man she obsesses over is the one who finally stopped obsessing over her. Not because he stopped caring, but because he started living. That's the essence of Stoicism in relationships. It's not coldness, it's clarity. It's not indifference, it's independence. When you no longer need her validation, you create a space where real attraction can breathe. You become the man who chooses his life, not the man who waits for hers. And here's the beautiful irony. When you stop needing her, she starts noticing you. When you stop chasing her, her thoughts start chasing you. Not because of tricks, not because of games, but because your energy shifted. You became rare. You became grounded. You became unforgettable. But this is bigger than her. Because whether she comes back or not, you win. You've gained yourself back. You've discovered that your purpose, your growth, your mission is the real prize. And no one can take that from you. So here's what I want you to take away. Stop measuring your value by how much attention you give her or how quickly she responds. Start measuring it by how deeply you live, how strong you stand, and how far you go in your own journey. Because that's the kind of man who commands respect. That's the kind of man who leaves a lasting mark. And if she comes back, and let's be honest, many will, remember this. Not every return means redemption. Some women come back because they've realized your worth. Others come back because they can't stand losing the comfort of your attention. The difference matters. Which brings me to this, because this is where most men trip up again. In my next video, I'll show you the one test that reveals everything. The test that tells you if she's truly yours, or if she's just afraid of losing you. So if you found power in what you heard today, don't stop here. Take this truth, live it, and join me for the next step. Because the man you are becoming isn't just the man she can't stop thinking about. He's the man you've always needed to be.